of Minnesota. Never clean your gutters again. Learn more at gutterhelmetmn.com.
Well, I've said this before. I'll say it again. You're not obligated, according to my text line, to agree with everything that our last guest just said, or any of it. It's a free country. He gets that. But how does the mind stay that sharp? About to turn 92 years old. That's the part that absolutely is mind-boggling, is it not? No pun intended. So that was a lot of fun. I hope people enjoyed it. I know it annoyed some, because of some of his opinions. He's an opinionated guy. But I wanted to do that first half hour in particular about a little bit of history.
I loved it.
About his background. That's stuff that we never get to with someone of his stature. So, I don't know how often we'll do it again. I guess I didn't even realize that he does spend most of a couple of months in Minnesota, and then he goes back to Florida. So that's right. This is the period he's in now, because he's not a guy at this point who's interested in dealing with terrible winters.
Nor could I blame him.
I can't.
But it is possible to split time in Minnesota and Florida, Lou Nanny. It is.
Yes.
You got to go to the cottage. Got to go to the cabin.
That's very, very true. Anyway, so top 5 at 5, better late than never. What do you have?
Yeah, first, actually, let's do the National Cash Contest. The fan and bigdeck.com. I'm going to give you a shot to win bonus bucks. It is our National Cash Contest. And the keyword, the final one for the evening, is rich. Go to KFAN.com and enter the keyword rich. Joe Ryan.
Ooh.
Allowed.
La-di-di-bats. That was
not
good.
One, not two, not three, not four, not five, but 6 dongs in Cleveland last night. So people might say, I didn't watch it on Twins TV. Was it a complete game? Did they just keep him in there? Did they try to save the bullpen? No, that was in 4 innings. I think actually it was even most of them were early in the first and second. But that was enough, as the Twins did not get off to a great start in Cleveland and lost 13-4 to the Guardians. Not exactly pressing the hand or putting the pressure on ownership to make any kind of move in the next couple of weeks with a 3rd straight loss, as we mentioned.
I hate saying this, and I know it's maybe a little bit unfair to suggest it, but I actually kind of believe it. I think the Twins management is relieved. Not anything they're ever going to admit to, because we're heading, again, if this stretch continues like this, that's what we said all along, you could just as easily fall right out of this thing again, right? Pretty easily, even in a bad division, a winnable division, and a winnable, not a fairly mediocre American League, because then it's going to be easier to say, well, who are we kidding, right? So we'll see what the next few days are like. Ryan pitching as badly as it did, does that mean he was trying to discourage his value, that he doesn't want to be traded?
I guess.
I assumed he would want to get traded.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know if he's ever spoken on that publicly or not.
I feel like he did last year a little bit, but his value was suppressed last night. That did not go well. Rojas, the pitcher tonight against Parker Messick. And if people are interested, and they were, because obviously they had some optimism coming out of the break, having won 8 of 9 series. The Twins are 5 games back now of the White Sox for first place in the American League Central. Cleveland is a game behind Chicago, 4 ahead of the Twins. If you're interested in the wild card, they are now 3 games back of that spot. Remember, when we went into the break, we were tied with Seattle for the final wild card spot. Now we are not. We are 3 games back, and Texas is in front of us. The Baltimore Orioles are in front of us as well. So there is that. Yeah,
I mean, that always is going to be the tricky part of being on the edge of it, right? And they had we'd won 8 out of 9 series, and so it felt like, okay, well, maybe we're going to be able to hang on the edge of it. But when you're on the edge, you lose 8 out of 9 or 10 out of 12. You can be very quickly out of it, and that's the tricky part of this situation. And sadly, as I mentioned, I think you could make the argument that all this proves is that it would be foolhardy to make any significant moves. But as we talked about last week, the Twins themselves over the years have backed themselves into a corner where if they if they did stay afloat and didn't do something, it was not going to be accepted because they have no credibility in that regard. When it's a close call, when it's an either way kind of a call. If they had a better history there, I think most baseball fans get it that, okay, this is our year to sell. This is our year to buy, right? And we'll see how it goes. I don't even know who we play after Cleveland. Is this a 3-game series with Cleveland? Do we even know?
They play tonight, so let me pull it up here. I don't know. I got to get the schedule up. It's a 3-gamer. Actually, it's a 4-gamer. This goes until Thursday.
Okay. Yeah, so
and then we play Oakland back here.
Gotcha. All right, fair enough.
Or when I say Oakland, I mean Sacramento/Vegas.
Yes, correct.
The Athletics come to town. I'm going to read you a line here. 32 points, 8 rebounds, 8 assists, 1 turnover. Any guesses?
I'm going to say LeBron James. No, I happen to know whose line that is. Minnesota Lynx, Rookie of the Year, potentially MVP as a rookie. Olivia Miles.
You are correct. Now, I could have thrown you off the track because I'm going to read you another line.
Yeah.
33 points, 2 rebounds, no assists. Gunslinger, 6 of 10 from three-point land. Kayla McBride.
So we probably haven't talked about her enough.
It's funny you say that
because
it's exactly how I was going to say it.
It is unbelievable. She seems to be going to another place. Now, the fascinating subplot that's broken out, though, is the ongoing insistence of the head coach that I'm not going to be satisfied without scoring teams because right now that's all we're doing. I actually like it. Because, again, it speaks to why she's such a good coach. She's saying we can't fool ourselves. But think about this for a minute. They have become, the Lynx, an offensive machine without an MVP candidate year in, year out. One of the 2 or 3 best players in the league offensively.
Collier, yes.
And yet their offense is purring like she doesn't exist and doesn't need to exist. But I think what Reeve is saying is it's a trap because some nights the offense isn't going to be flowing. We're not going to be hitting the same number of shots. You guys are playing, it's a lot of fun. You're just outscoring people. But there are limits to that. And those are the 2 stories side by side going on with this team because every game it feels like their new big 2 is unstoppable offensively.
And for her efforts this week, Kayla McBride was named the Western Conference Player of the Week for the games played from July 13th through July 19th. It's the second of her career, first since last August. She averaged 28 points, 3 rebounds, almost 2 steals, and almost a block, shooting 44% from 3 across 3 games. She currently ranks 3rd in the W in three-pointers made, 4th in free throw percentage, and 10th in scoring. So you talk about Miles is up there as well. McBride is top 10 in scoring as well.
And it's been said by others long before me, I don't think there's anybody in the league that gets their shot off more quickly.
It's very fast.
She does.
You're right. She's ready.
It's a skill. It really is part of the deal.
Lynx won, by the way, 105-102. I don't know if we mentioned that last night. They're 21-6 now and have a day off in Seattle today before a final matinee affair tomorrow against the Storm before the All-Star break. So that is what's going on with the Lynx.
It's what we said yesterday. It's fairly obvious they're not going to bring Collier back before the break, right?
Yeah, I don't think so.
Makes no sense, and it probably doesn't make any sense to do that at this point. Although sooner or later, like I said, you gotta try it unless there's a piece of this we're missing. Has anybody hinted at all that there's a complication or that they're slowing it up because there's fluid in one of the knees or, you know what I mean? Something that is contributing to this? Do you have any idea?
I don't, because every time the head coach is asked about it, she says nothing.
Yes.
And even when, the players get up in front of the public, like Olivia Miles, was hurt last Wednesday, and they had a game on Saturday, and she met the media on Friday, and people asked her, how's it going? How are you feeling? It was a pretty bad ankle. It looked bad, the Olivia Miles injury. And so when she talked on Friday, she's like, well, I don't know what I'm allowed to say. It kind of reminds me of the Clem Haskins line that you said that was it Miles Tarver or somebody. It's like, well, Coach Haskins says you can't ask about that.
Yeah, I think that was Courtney James.
Courtney James.
Yeah.
It reminds me that Olivia Miles is like, well, I don't know. I don't think I'm supposed to say anything.
Right.
And Cheryl did say, by the way, she practiced today, but they're very secretive about this whole thing. There's not a lot of info that's coming in or coming out. But, yeah, I mean, remember, originally when this ankle thing started, early June or mid-June, I think, was at least a timeline, and then it was going to be early July. Then they were a couple weeks away. Now she's at least back practicing, it seems like, so it's not nothing. They're obviously ramping her up.
Yeah, it would certainly appear that way. So,
and like you say, they keep winning. What's the problem? As long as she comes back.
Refresh my memory on this. Do we view Nafisa Collier as a great defensive player, good defensive player, average defensive player?
She's good.
Okay.
Yeah, really good.
So to that extent, maybe that also would be a reason to get her back, even if the team is winning games, if the head coach is convinced that we can't expect to win in the postseason the way we're winning in the regular season. It is a different animal.
It was 2 years ago, Collier was Defensive Player of the Year in the WNBA, and I'm pretty sure most people think she got jobbed by the officials last year, if I remember right. And she's a great rebounder. Like, she's MVP, Dan. You can use that. MVP.
Is that new? Is that yours?
Yeah. No, definitely not. But I like it. Neither is the spectacle for Olivia Miles, but I love that one too. If you're waiting for LeBron James news, there's not going to be any today. That, according to Dave McMenamin and others.
Here's the LeBron James news. I'm very curious now. My curiosity is, shall we say, in the business peaked. Let me read. Where did this go? Regardless, here it is. This is from 651 guy. Watching PTI. I'm an old grumpy sports dude, but holy Hannah, Wilbon was either on coke or meth today with fill-in Frank Isola. His anger about where LeBron James is going. So I'm assuming that's the meltdown of enough.
We get it.
I'm guessing. Yeah. I don't know. But that wouldn't surprise me. That certainly would sound like something that he might say. Actually, something that many of us might say at some point, even those of us who said, you got to be patient through this thing. Now, the new betting money is it's down to Cleveland and Miami. I always thought Miami was going to be the place. That wasn't based on any reporting. I just thought that was logical, all things put together. Cleveland's weird because Windhorst, about 2 weeks ago, said it ain't going to be Cleveland. So I don't know that anybody yet really knows, right? Except that even Johnny now says that Anthony Edwards is right, that we are the longest of long shots. If we were anything but that, we are now, even the team is now considering itself very much a long shot in the LeBron sweepstakes.
And I thought about leading with this, but I didn't know if you were going to be back in time because I wanted you to be a part of it, because Fallness says we never talk enough Wild and never talk enough hockey.
What the hell else was... yeah, there is something to talk hockey-wise. Are you talking about the network announcement?
Yes, yeah. And the reason why I wanted to bring it up is because it has nothing to do with Fallness. It's all about TV.
You're right. That's true.
And he's Mr. Mute TV, listen to the radio. And I suppose we should be that way as well, given we are also radio, that we are the radio home for your Minnesota Wild. But they announced today with a great video. I don't know if you saw it.
I saw it. It was very clever. Really well done.
You want to call some hockey?
That's
you got to have Lou Nanny.
Louie's in it.
Of course he is.
Yeah.
Do you think they filmed that at his cabin? Do you think he made him come all the way out there?
Certainly, I thought it looked like the cabin compound. It really did.
Hold on, which building?
Well, that's it. But he ain't going to come to them. They'll say, you want me in the you can do his voice. You want me in this thing?
Yeah, come to the cabin. Come on out. You guys could stay here.
Get some poutine or something, yeah.
So anyway, Wild fans, you can watch games on their new exclusive local multimedia television network. The viewing options will include cable, satellite, direct-to-consumer streaming services, and over-the-air broadcast. So they're basically kind of going in-house.
Yes.
Like the Twins have just done. We've talked about that. But it's all the familiar faces that you would see, or many of them. Obviously, KG, Anthony LaPanta, Wes Walls. He had a great cameo. He's in Canada. He got on a jet ski.
Yes.
Brian Carter. It was a great video. Really well done.
It was very well done. And again, it sounds like if you got any of the Comcast or DirecTV packages where you're getting the Twins and Wild, you're going to get this. It pretty much likely included in that package. I don't know what number it's going to come up on, but that's what you're going to get. Is our station getting in on any of the hockey? Because I don't think Fox 9, we've done a lot of college hockey. Did we get any? Because I think there's not a bunch of Wild games on regular TV here, but I think there's supposed to be 4 or 5.
It doesn't say that now. That's probably all going to be ironed out as we go. And we know they're going to try for sure.
Yeah.
And also, this will be the 16th season, which is crazy because I remember, I've been here a long time. I'm not Arne Carlson, but I've been here a long time. I remember being in Houston, gunbelt tight, when we got off the plane. We had landed. Corey and I got on a plane. We just found out we were going to the Final Four. Mm-hmm. Found out that the Wolves, this is how little we knew about anything. We found out the Wolves were leaving us. They were going wherever they went at that time because they've left us a couple times.
Correct. By
the time we had landed, it had already been announced that the Wild were coming. So in like a 2-hour flight to Houston, gunbelt tight.
Yeah.
And that was 2011. I remember it like it was yesterday. And this is our 16th season as the audio home for the Minnesota Wild.
Think about it.
That was also part of the release. We didn't do a video.
No, we
don't need that.
We just plow ahead.
We do what we do.
We do what we do.
We do what we do.
Just do the work.
So there you go. Did the keyword for the bonus bucks.
Excellent.
If you missed it, it's green. Go to KFAN.com. The keyword is green.
Lots of good texts to get to, reacting to our hour-plus discussion with former Governor Arne Carlson. We'll try to delve into a couple of other controversial issues. I believe we are guest-free the rest of the way. Back in just a minute.
You're listening to Barrero on The Fan.
Wonders whether Louis is trying to make poutine with Kemp's black pepper cottage cheese.
Oh, that sounds really good.
It does.
Not the poutine as much as the cottage cheese.
I'm not a cottage cheese guy.
Oh, big time.
You are?
I love it.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't have it enough.
It never works for me for some reason. Dan, what would a Wild radio promo video look like with Kay Fallness and Halvey? That's from Clayton.
Just follow them both on Twitter. It's pictures of each other. It'd be Diet Cokes all over the place, candles.
Probably true. Dan, thanks for the hour with the governor. His common sense, bipartisanship are sorely missed these days. Is that wrong? Is it wrong that I'm nostalgic for the days of working together regardless of party affiliation? That's Jeff in Lindstrom. Dan, thanks for having former governor on the show today. One point struck me, him saying that the fraud in Minnesota ultimately traces back to an illegal act or order within the administration to not pursue it when the whistleblowers came forward. I would have a great deal of respect if someone like Lugar or Kloby would call it out as well and say that the next administration will not tolerate it. It's easy for the Jets to deflect with the what about Trump answer, not excusing anything Trump has done rather than actually acknowledging that the fraud is a problem that should not have happened. That is Alan in Afton. For what it's worth, I'm a lifelong 63-year-old Minnesotan. I don't lean left in any way, but I love when you have Arne Carlson on the program. 612 guy, regardless of viewpoint on any issue, Arne Carlson is a national treasure. Absolutely riveting hour with the governor. First governor that I really remember, always balanced and smart. I don't know if he would have an answer, but I'd love to hear ideas of how to convince politicians to fix the money issues that are creating the mistrust. This is from an individual who describes himself as a centrist Republican.
Get him to stop liking money?
With admiration.
I think that would be the first step, right?
Yeah, that's very, very true, Davey. It's Clayton again. That was A+, Dan. Thoughtful, common sense answers from the former governor. The current elected leaders should hear. Gaardsy has another hour of best of material, and he now may book an earlier flight. Always thinking about your, best of shows, which is
it's going to pair nicely with Sarah Spain the next time we need one.
Jeremiah hits on another key point that I wanted to get to before this show was done. He's from Edina. Dan, JG, and Mr. Governor, what an incredible American dream story from stutterer to the state capitol. What a life and a must podcast. Trumpers, independents, Dems. That's the part of the story that I really appreciated the most, was trying to fill in a little bit of his backstory. It's not like it's not ever been written here or known here, but we always take that stuff for granted, that we kind of know the story, and let's just talk about the political issues of the day. And the stories he told about growing up, born in New York City, growing up in poverty. The story about a turkey landing. They had no turkey one Thanksgiving, and one lands outside in the alleyway area. And then the story of, I asked him, he's such a good public speaker, did he always have that? And he said no, that he was a stutterer. He told the story of the Bela Lugosi Dracula-like professor at Choate, right?
Yeah.
Who basically calmed him down, put his arm around him and basically said, I'm going to work with this guy. He needs to slow down. I'm going to work with all of you. So we tend to see the finished product, and we don't really think much about, well, how did you get there? And the stories, the yarns he spun about his childhood, about his time at Choate, on a scholarship, a prep school in New York, about thinking that he was his grades, his scores were among the worst, that he thought he was going to get kicked out, and how he found a way to stay afloat, and how then he applies after college to 3 graduate schools, including in one of them, what did he say? All Midwest.
Yes.
He liked about, I heard there's a lot of green in these Midwestern states. So he picked, it was Wisconsin, Minnesota. I can't remember what the third was.
I don't know. I can't remember if it was Iowa or if it was Illinois.
And basically what he told us is Minnesota said yes first. If Wisconsin says yes first, we may never even meet him.
It's the opposite of the John Wooden story, or the John Wooden legend.
Exactly what I was thinking. Yeah. Exactly right. Those backstories to me are golden. And I think part of the point he was making was, people may salute me now and think that they like the job that I did, and might think that I'm, effective now as an elder statesman, commenting on things. But what did he say about his first 6 months in office as governor? He said it was a disaster.
A weak performance is what he said.
And that he had to hear, including from his wife at the time, Barbara, too nice. You can't be nice. You can't say yes to everybody in this job. You have to draw lines, I think is what he said. That was definitely a lot of fun. And as I mentioned, the back part of the story, the human part of where he came from, is a big part of it.
His brother, though.
How about that?
Appendicitis, 3 years old.
Oh my God.
Doctor will not, even though it's supposed to be a free hospital,
right.
Shakes down his family, basically.
Basically, yes.
And how he said, being poor doesn't mean you don't have money. It means you don't have access. You don't live next to people that can help you. That was powerful stuff.
Extremely. Dan, Arne, what an amazing storyteller. I was a kid when he was governor. Now as an adult, I hear him and I see why he was so well thought of back then. Tremendous interview. Enjoyed it so much, and I hate politics. Dan, Governor Arne's TDS is off the charts. That's Paul in North Carolina. A couple more compliments on the bit. Bill Maher makes that point all of the time. It's the Citizens United ruling that is the problem. This is from Rube Paul. Elected officials are forced to fundraise first and govern second. How do you reach across the aisle if you're forced to tell your base that the other side is the enemy? And there most assuredly is a lot of that. On-air discussion with Carlson, one of the best in a long time. Mr. Carlson, this is Tony from Grand Rapids. We have voted in activists, not qualified candidates. The governor and I, writes Bemidji Guy, disagreed on several issues, but I always respected real transparency and honor. Governor Carlson is not a bakery. He does not sugarcoat things. Mad props to a man who states his beliefs clearly. We voted a moderate in the 90s, Carlson, so what seemed like unity turned out to be just no resistance to the commies that took over Minnesota. Thanks, Arne. This state is now in the fight of its life. I will give Arne 10 years to study and pour through charges, and he's still going to be able to understand the felonies, Trump felonies that were charged. He sounds straight up like Joe Scarborough or Stephen Colbert. Okay, well, that's the great thing about America. Can Arne please be our next president? Would he consider running for governor again? Republicans are generous too, Dan. Generosity is not something the DFL has come up with. In fact, it's quite the opposite. They like to be generous with other people's money instead of the taxpayer being generous with their own, that is the principal difference between Republicans and Democrats when it comes to financial responsibility. Well, I certainly don't think that the governor was putting the kid gloves on when he was talking about the Feeding Our Future and other scandals. I think really among anybody who now views themselves as independent or DFL, he was, I think, again, as critical as anybody regarding particularly the governor and the attorney general. I mean, the challenge that he laid out via that op-ed piece and that he doubled down on today, I don't think he was very equivocal in any of that. Does Arnie have any eligibility left? Abyss, this is the best radio I've heard in years. This is John the mail carrier, one of our favorites. These days are why many of us continue to listen every day. Sure, there are times to break down the All-22, or if LeBron comes, or why the Wild can't get over the hump, but these are special interviews. Thanks, Dan and Governor Carlson as well.
We really should thank the social media team for Gopher men's basketball for alerting us that he was in town.
And what I guess I didn't realize that he's back in town every year this time of year, but we wouldn't have known it.
He stopped by
for
practice.
The reason that you mentioned, and that's how you told me, but then you forgot. The plan was over the weekend, you said, I'm going to text you his info, and then why don't you reach out and see if he might come in early next week?
Yep.
And then yesterday, fortunately, I remembered he hadn't texted me.
Yeah.
So I did, or was that earlier today?
That was earlier this morning.
This morning, and the beauty of it was it came together in like 3 hours. That was the best part.
But that's Arne Carlson. Every
true.
time I've ever called him, he's delighted, and he asks what time. We call him, and he's there.
Correct.
Because he likes visiting. He likes visiting with people. He likes talking. He obviously stays connected to everything.
There's not any question. I'm 28. Can Arnie run again? I'll run through a wall for him.
I loved when he just said, just tell me what's in the bill.
Yes.
Right? Like that. You could summarize the whole hour if you want to talk about like today's politics. Like the isms and everything and this person, that person.
Yes.
What's the bill say? Let's talk about the bill. And then we'll figure out if we like the bill. Like that's brilliant. In its simplicity.
Could Arnie come full circle and run for Minneapolis City Council again?
Oh,
please?
Yeah, you can come home again.
Brilliant. That's a brilliant idea. They have multiple aides now, and the pay is pretty good considering. This is another one of my favorites. This individual suggests I blew it in one area. He writes, this is perfection of talk radio, but ask him about his preferences on deli meat. We never got to the deli meat question. And we didn't really get to any Gopher stuff because he's a huge Gopher rube. He always has been. We've talked about this before. He used to write op-ed pieces or letters to the editor when he was governor, ripping the you-know-what out of Royce and me for negativity on Gopher whatever, football, bat, whatever it was at the time.
Yeah.
He would just light us up via the letters to the editor.
The Bradshaw and Bryant Star Tribune text line.
Basically, that was pretty
That's how
much
he would comment.
We need a break again, right?
We do.
Okay, let's do it. We'll come back. We'll get to a couple of other stories. There's an A-section story that took a really dark turn that I want to at least attempt to get to, and we'll mix and match some other stories before we wrap things up at 6:30.
Bumper to Bumper with Dan Barrero on the...
The violence of the last several days between Minneapolis and St. Paul, as we've discussed, I think on yesterday's show and a little bit on Sunday as well. One of the tragedies took place in St. Paul on, I believe this was Monday afternoon, a shooting at the Davern Park Apartments. This is in the Highland Park neighborhood. Have you heard the details on this story? What
I don't think
authorities
so.
are now saying?
No.
We do now have a man charged as of earlier today with fatally shooting 3 staff members in the leasing office that apparently oversaw his St. Paul apartment building in a dispute over his inability to have his parking garage contract canceled. The last name is spelled Binessu. He's 30 years old. charged in Ramsey County District Court with 3 counts of second-degree murder in connection with the shooting Monday afternoon at the aforementioned Davern Park Apartments in the Highland Park area. The alleged perpetrator remains jailed in lieu of $10 million bail. This is according to a StarTribune.com piece written by Lewis Krause and Paul Walsh. Court records do not list an attorney for him. They also show that he has no other criminal history beyond parking tickets. So the criminal complaint notes that he lives in a nearby apartment building run by the same management. And he apparently went to the office to speak about canceling his $65 monthly parking garage contract. That's what his roommate apparently told investigators. The Ramsey County Medical Examiner's Office has identified the victims as Nancy G. Fuentes Zambrano, 25, of Inver Grove Heights, Dana M. Silcox, 56, of St. Paul, and Adam J. Wilwarding, 43, of Oakdale. The alleged shooter was arrested Monday night about 200 miles to the north by St. Louis County deputies in Virginia, Minnesota, and then brought back to Minnesota. Wilwarding was a multi-site manager for various buildings. Silcox was an assistant GM, and Fuentes Zambrano was a leasing agent for Mid-Continent Management Corporation, according to the company president. They issued a statement, not surprisingly. According to the complaint, callers to police reported hearing gunshots and screams in the apartment building. One caller said there was a man and a woman in the leasing office who were critically wounded. And then officers ultimately go to the office about 4:10 p.m. and find all 3 victims who were pronounced dead at the scene. Officers recovered 21 spent 9mm casings from the office. A man called police, said his roommate of 8 years confessed to the killings. He had worked as a trucker until 2 months ago, planned to join the Navy, and thought the interview was successful. He had intended to speak with the apartment management on canceling his $65 a month parking garage contract because he just sold his car, a transaction that officers confirmed had occurred in the same day as the shooting. Hours later, the alleged shooter told his roommate that he, quote, argued with apartment management and ended up killing 3 people. Here's the quote from apartment staff. He called to cancel his parking garage contract with them. They told him that he could not get out of paying the contract he had recently renewed. He then told the staffer he would come back to speak about the situation in person, but was told that the answer would be the same. A police review of officer surveillance video captures him repeatedly shooting Wilwarding, then Silcox. He then walks down the hall, out of the camera's view, and can be heard shooting Fuentes Zambrano, the charges say. And they find in his apartment a loaded 9mm magazine, but no gun. He admitted to law enforcement that he hated the American system, complained of unsuccessfully trying to bring his wife and children from Ethiopia for 7 years. And he also contended that his immigration battle contributed to his divorce and separation from his children, created too much stress for him to concentrate as a trucker. He did acknowledge going to the office about the contract, but he did not address what happened there. Again, it's just the whole thing is unimaginable. Whatever grievance you have about the contract and what's fair and what's not fair and what the rules might be, it's the jump, right? It's the leap that that in quote unquote, everyday life we go, we can't get there. We all have these grievances. We all have these things where we think we're being screwed by somebody or whatever the case may be, or a business is not being responsive or whatever the case may be. The idea that you have someone who's then capable of making the jump from whatever that fear is to, I'm going to kill people. I mean, I know it happens all the time. But it still shocks me every time, right? When we hear the details about how this began and how it finished. 3 lives are gone. Not to mention, then, all of the family members and people who knew those three individuals whose lives are shattered. It's just absolutely mind-boggling. And I don't think there's any larger lesson here. I think to learn out of this story, I don't think there's any need for it to. I guess it could become political when you talk about the gun aspect of it and gun availability and all that sort of thing if you want to. I'm just talking about at the human level. How we have people, too many people, it appears, in our culture for whom that leap is not as great as it is for most of us. For whatever the reason, whether it's mental illness or whatever it might be, that going from I don't want to have to pay that $65 anymore. I got rid of my car to I'm going to get a gun and I'm going to take these individuals. It's just mind-boggling. But there you have it. So we have at least some more information on that one. Not maybe as much on the two Minneapolis shootings, although I think we have a little bit more detail there than we had previously as well. We'll make this the top of the hour break. Come back for a final half hour of today's broadcast. Back in just a minute right here on The Fan.
You're listening to Barrero on The Fan.
From the 1-800.
I'll play it again. Why not? I'll try to.
News on the march.
That my biggest objection with our generic bumper music is it's all like it's loud.
Yeah, it's
doesn't
loud.
give you much of a chance to fade it. So news on the march, back again, several nuggets to get to. How about this one? 74 years after a Pan American flight crashed into the water off of Puerto Rico, killing 52 people and prompting sweeping reforms, including pre-flight passenger safety briefings. An aviation search team, I should say, has found the wreckage sitting on the ocean floor. This goes way back. I don't even remember this crash. But the Air Sea Heritage Foundation, apparently in conjunction with others, including the Discovery Channel's Expedition Unknown show, last month found the wreckage of the Pan Am Clipper Endeavor at the bottom of the Atlantic Ocean. The discovery ends decades of mystery about precisely where the Douglas DC-4 aircraft came to rest after crashing into the ocean shortly after it took off from Puerto Rico on April 11, 1952, with 64 passengers and 5 crew members aboard. Although all passengers survived the initial impact, only 17 would be rescued. The rest would be lost with the quickly sinking plane. And that led to apparently investigators saying we got to work on safety briefings that did ultimately spur some changes in the aviation industry. Along similar lines, staying in aviation, did you see this story? Minutes after Alaska Airlines Flight 2117 had lifted from the runway, a phone and power bank sitting in a passenger's lap burst into flames. The fire scorched the passenger's arms and legs.
You'd think.
Before she tossed the devices into the aisle, where flight attendants scrambled to get them into a fireproof bag to quell the blaze. Pilots declared an emergency, dropped oxygen masks in the cabin, and returned to Wichita, Kansas. The incident from earlier this year is apparently just one example of what airlines and regulators say is now the fastest growing safety threat to air travel. Phones, power banks, and vapes spontaneously catching fire mid-flight. Those and other personal devices have lithium-ion batteries prone to bursting into flames when they malfunction or overheat. The threat is not described as new, but the industry's assessment of the risks has heightened as passengers bring more device on board. This is a critical safety area, says one safety expert. We've seen over the years an increasing number of these incidents. In the U.S., they have more than doubled since 2009. 19. When we say double, I don't know what that means, though. It's 4 to 8?
Right.
Is it 30 to, I can't do the math after that.
60.
You know what I'm saying? That'd be 60.
Got you.
But apparently, there are new rules that a lot of airlines have rolled out aimed at reducing such this risk. American Airlines, Delta, and Southwest have all banned power banks from overhead lockers. But here's the thing again. How many people are going to be honest about that? When you say overhead, I mean, you can say if you got something in the overhead, you can't have a power grid in there or a battery, whatever. But some people are going to say, come on, I've been doing this for years. It's not going to bother me, right? How do you prove it?
Well, it's hard. It's hard. I mean, the first thing they obviously do is they ask if there's any in your checked bags because
yes, they do that. You're right.
And they can obviously check that, I would imagine, as well, right? Like, I'm sure when they scan the bags before they go under the plane, I'm guessing they could check if there's a lithium battery in there.
But they're not checking an overhead.
No, I know.
Yeah.
But so what I'm saying is, like we always say, you kind of take your best shot at it, and you hope people keep it underneath.
Yeah. Right.
And obviously, even if it is in the overhead and it combusts, it's at least better because you're going to know it's at least better than being underneath the plane in the checked baggage area. But that's interesting.
Britain recorded more than 100 incidents of devices overheating last year, a 98% surge compared with 2024. Man, that's something
to think about.
A little concerning. April, an SAS flight returned to Aberdeen, Scotland after takeoff after a laptop caught fire. In May, a Newark-bound United Airlines flight was diverted to London after a power bank just burst into flames. And last month, a cell phone erupted aboard a British Airways flight to Vegas. So here's what I'm trying to figure out. Why is this happening more often?
Why are they overheating? Yeah.
I mean, is it
because they're using them?
Are they built differently? I don't know. That part of it does not, I don't know, just does not sound particularly good. One more thought about a story we got into yesterday. There's a desire, I think the mayor of Minneapolis talking about the violence over the weekend. We alluded to the fact that in his prepared statement, he made a point about we got to use all the technology that it's available to us, and that includes, it was his effort to sort of, I think, double down on the idea of using drones, which I think the city council just defeated on their end. I think drones are already used to a certain degree. In fact, in many law enforcement areas. I want to get back to something we got into yesterday about that. And part of the reason, allegedly, is the company that does the drones, they offer drones to Israeli forces. Therefore, we are now complicit in what's happening in Gaza. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that whatever the drones are used for here is going to be different than there, whatever your political belief might be. But I'll reiterate, if you want to cling to that position in a city in which there aren't enough cops, you can't have it both ways. In other words, the next time something happens and the police are late to it, to me, if you want to perform and take the high road about we do not want to be complicit with stuff that's going on overseas, when all you're trying to do in this case is conduct business and make the city of Minneapolis as safe as possible, you lose the right to rant about where's the police? Why didn't they get there sooner? They have failed again. You can't have it both ways. If you want, again, to pontificate and perform about international issues, even though, as I said, drones are going to be used for very different purposes here, and they already are being used, and any self-respecting law enforcement professional will tell you that they are a helpful tool, and you know who they help in the end? Citizens. To get to places faster, to survey a scene better. So, again, get on the soapbox, but you know and I know in some cases these are some of the same individuals who are going to lecture about the police failing in certain situations or not getting to a place soon enough. You're taking away a tool that might help them do that. We still don't have enough cops in the city of Minneapolis. And it is ironic, listen to Arne talk about, the first election he won was to city council, Minneapolis, in the mid-'60s. And you say to yourself, what did he talk about? Oh, policy, about, okay, where can we help, et cetera, et cetera. And it all feels more, like I said, more about speech making or responding to special interests who don't necessarily, I think, seem to have the best interests of, okay, how do we give ourselves the best chance in a community where we don't have the number of cops that we need, the best chance to still give law enforcement a chance to do its job. It just, the more I think about it, the more it just doesn't, it's a position that does not make any sense to me. That, especially when, as I said, it's this notion that, well, we may use it some, but this would be expanding it. What's the distinction? Other than, again, you want to perform, to make a larger political statement that has nothing to do with the reality on the ground. Drones are already used and allegedly pretty closely monitored about what they are used for. So do you either want to try to tackle these issues and make it better? Or do you want to run for a national office to talk about national related issues, which is great, or feel better about being connected to some of those national issues, including what's going on in Gaza? Go ahead. I mean, it's absolutely, it's predictable, not at all surprising. And the fact that we have people who can't stand tall and fire back and say, here is exactly why we need in the streets these tools for law enforcement. Better to raise a flag instead. Go ahead. But then don't whine about the job, less of a chance that the job is going to be done right.
You're listening to Barrero on The Fan.
From the 1-800-ASK-GARY Traffic Center.
This report is sponsored by...
Show Wrap is presented by American Pressure, commercial-grade pressure washer since 1975.
It's the bumper-to-bumper Show Wrap.
I really appreciate the return of Kevin Seifert today. First time, I think Seifert thought we'd given him about 5 weeks off, a little bit more than I thought. But we got to pick up the scent, man. There's no question. The World Cup is now in the rearview mirror. I'm sad about that. Gaardsy's sad about that.
Yeah.
But we have to forge ahead and follow the stories.
It's American football time now.
And it is American football time now. And why not pick up the set with our guy Kevin Seifert? Good stuff on the quarterback situation. Good stuff on our number one draft choice. A number of things with Seifert. He joined us about 3:15 today. And then we had a terrific hour and change with former Governor Arne Carlson in studio between basically, 4:02 or so. I think we went well into the 5, maybe 5:05. Had a great discussion with him talking about not just the politics of today, but the politics he grew up in and how he grew up. He's not one of us. Arne Carlson's not one of us.
No.
He's considered one of us in a sense. Two-time, governor. But he was born in New York City into poverty. He told that story. He told about his school challenges after he got a scholarship to go to the very fashionable, very hoity-toity Choate School, preparatory school, and how he ended up at the University of Minnesota. As you said, it's sort of the anti-John Wooden story, quite frankly. So I would, if you missed it, I heartily recommend you podcast that later. Maybe on the treadmill later. Maybe you're walking. Maybe you're on the boat. Even if you don't get to it today, find it, save it. I don't think you're going to be disappointed. Now, politically, you might not like some of the things he has to say, but I'm hoping you can rise above that.
Isn't that kind of the point?
It should be, but, and he talked about a lot of the politics. And, if you're a righty, if you're a shark, he's got plenty of red meat going after the Jets. Don't worry. I mean, it's there. He went after pretty much everybody today, including Donald J. Trump, but not just him. So that was, as I mentioned, really the entire 4 o'clock hour into early 5. Tomorrow is Kessler Day, I'm assuming. And is that all we have scheduled right now?
Scheduled right now, yeah.
But there may be more.
Things move quickly on this show.
Well, that's true.
We didn't have Arne Carlson in studio at this time last night.
Until it came together very quickly earlier today, and I learned that the guy I assumed was full-time Florida actually spent some time here. And he's smart. He's got about 2 months in him, maybe 3.
Yeah.
I think 3, and then he goes back to Florida. He says, we didn't talk about this on air, but he said, I'm done. I don't do the winters. And he said, look, he says, you get to my age, you can't slip on the ice.
Good point.
And I said, well, yes and no, Governor. He's about to turn 92, by the way, in September. I said, then Sid Hartman, remember when he break a hip and then he lasted another like 20 years?
Yeah. I think he just got up and walked himself to the hospital.
Pretty much true. But
Sid's one of one.
He is one of one. That's very
kind of like
true.
Arnie.
I should have asked Arnie for maybe next time for a couple of Sid stories. Maybe we can get him out. I don't know, at the fair, that might be complicated.
That would be tough. I thought about that, too.
Although, to be honest with you, he would grouse less about it than Glenn Mason. About getting there. You know that, right?
Well, he got himself here today. That's all I know.
Here's the thing. I actually said, look, because I don't drive anymore, I said, I'll get you carry limo. Let me know. I'll take care of it. And he texted back about an hour later, I'll just Uber it. I said, okay, I appreciate it.
Do you think the Uber driver has any idea who he's driving?
Probably not. Yeah, well,
or she's driving.
If it's a youngster, most likely
that's what I mean,
right? Yeah. That's probably quite.
All youngsters should appreciate, and I've told him this before too. I should have told him to his face today that for middle school kids at that time, he was a hero for. He was never hesitant to pull the governor card to cancel school.
That's true.
The preemptive, and let us know the day before so we could have just a hell of a Wednesday night doing whatever we were doing. He did it, I think, 3 or 4 times. One of them I remember vividly being at a 7th grade basketball practice.
You loved it,
and
didn't
Mrs. Goldstein walked in and said, "Governor canceled school." The ball went up. It was one shiny moment for another 2 hours.
You didn't mind him being a dictator about that kind of stuff,
Didn't care. Yeah, whatever you need to do.
It's a beautiful thing. Are the Twins still winning? I heard they were up early.
I honestly have no idea. I have not been paying attention.
So I don't know. Maybe that means we can buy again. I'm not probably going to need more than 1 in a row at this point. We'll see. I'm assuming Fan on Demand in the Air will follow us tonight.
Yes, and Dan Patrick.
The Dan Patrick Show. With
no Video Games Weekly tonight.
Commissioner?
I don't think she's appeared yet.
No.
Not yet. Someday, maybe.
Will she ever?
Although, do you even want her to now?
Yeah, that's a good point.
I just don't know.
At this juncture.
I thought she was done after